My PC wants me to finish my presentation, apparently. Okay, well, so digital evidence forgery. So it's obviously always a possibility that folks may try and forge. All right, there we go. It stayed. So one of the things that people always say when I'm talking to them about this as well, people can forge data within binaries to make you think that they're a novice and they're not really, and so forth. Well, it's obviously always a possibility, but the key thing about forgery is that you've got to know what to forge. So if you're an intelligence agency, you're going to be building up your own set of analytics and models based on what you're really looking for. And unless the adversary has knowledge of that, it's going to be very difficult to perform any kind of forgery of, to throw you off. The second part of that is if we're looking at how well the code was written, the benefits of forging inappropriate programming practices may offset the return on investment you're getting from throwing someone off in the first place. For example, putting lots of memory leaks into your program probably doesn't help anyone. It may tell us that you're not a very good programmer, but at the same time it may reduce the reliability of your code because you're leaking memory all over your target operating systems. And so there are obviously times when code analysis can fail, and we don't have a lot of time left, and I want to get to some questions, so we'll go through these quickly. It's always important to have other out-of-band data, even if you're confident in your technical analysis, to try and help corroborate what we already believe to be true. So things like command and control channel host correlation between multiple pieces of malware. If we can correlate that one group use the same CNC hosts, maybe in the same subnet or the same ISP, that may help us further identify that there's a link between two groups that we already think might exist, maybe through isomorphic analysis. Check-in server identification, similar to CNC hosts, but check-in hosts are basically where the malware first connect to say here I am. And then post-incident analytics, like using similar methodologies to look at any post-compromise tools that may have been deposited on the file system of the compromised machine, looking at what data was exfiltrated and correlating that with similar types of data that may have been exfiltrated from other attacks that you may also think are linked, and analysis of any other secondary targets that were attacked during the compromise. There are various tools that exist out there that can help us with this process. Plantier, Maltego. I know Greg detailed a lot of this very heavily in his presentation. And good old IRC forums and chat forums often surprisingly useful still these days in terms of creating relationships between individuals and groups where we're trying to observe perhaps a link between two organized crime groups that we may think may be sharing code with each other or may even be the same members in different groups. So the Register ran an article on this presentation at the end of last week, and there's a few there's a few points which I wanted to touch on. And the first was that when folks find out that not all of these attacks that we're seeing on the internet aren't really the work of nation-state sponsors, then all our budgets will get cut. Well, my response to that was really that we need more money to build tools like this so that we can identify the attacks that really matter and toss out the ones that we're not so interested in. And we've got 10 minutes, so actually I'm going to skip to questions in a sec. The tool Black Axon is available from Google Code /BlackAxon. Black Axon, beg my pardon. Anyone that wants to contribute or has feedback, more than welcome. It'll remain a proof of concept just to help document various data points and analysis methodologies. It's all GPL, so if you want to take it and build your own code from that, you're more than welcome. And with that, we'll move to questions.
I'm concerned about the first part of your presentation where you just sort of glossed over and sort of minimized the value of personal attribution.
Sure.
Such as identifying and enumerating real names behind handles, real link relationships,
Sure.
communication methods. I think that in order to deter and strategically dissuade a lot of these activities, a intense amount of clear focus on certain individual actors and groups would have a destabilizing
Right.
and chaotic impact on the operations.
I completely agree with you, and that's why I had the point about deterrence and law enforcement in there. And certainly, in attribution at the individual level is very important, but often a methodology like this, in terms of defining groups and linkages between groups, is often a first step to getting you to that end goal of identifying individuals within that group environment. So I think there's a lot of focus today on finding individuals, and certainly law enforcement agencies have many, many more capabilities available to them than just looking at the malware that they do use to try and pinpoint individuals. My focus was really more on talking about the components that don't get focused on so much, such as the creation of linkage between groups, how code gets shared, which I still believe is something that can ultimately help lead you to the end goal, if that is your end goal, of finding an individual. Yeah. Any more questions? No. Going once, twice. All right. Well, thank you very much.